Hey everybody, Charles for HumbleMechanic.com. Today, we're talking the state of the shop. This is episode 127 of the Humble Mechanic Podcast. All right, so the state of the shop episodes are where we talk about what's going on right now in the Volkswagen world. From recalls to really common repairs, how business is going, and some of the common failures that we're seeing right now. But before we get into the show, let's talk about the sponsor of the day, which is Rain Eater Wiper Blades. Having good quality wiper blades on your car is incredibly important. It's also one of the easiest DIYs out there that anybody can do. So if you want an awesome quality wiper blade at a great price, check out Rain Eater Wiper Blades at raineater.com. All right, let's kick this off by talking about some of the things that I don't have any updates for. The TDI thing, we still don't know. We still don't know on Gen 3, Gen 2, or Gen 1. You know, I've done other episodes about what's going on with this thing before, and really nothing has changed, minus the fact that a ton of people got $1,000 worth of gift cards to spend on their car or on whatever they really want. They're estimating having some kind of repair in Q3 for the first generation TDIs. Those are the ones that don't have an AdBlue injection system, and probably something earlier on the Gen 2 and Gen 3 as well. We're still not selling new TDIs, but they have loosened up a little bit and are letting us sell them as used certified. I know a lot of people are still concerned about what the value of their TDI is, but again, I really don't know. I still think values are pretty low compared to what they were maybe this time last year. So like I've been saying all along, this is really still a wait and see game as far as what Volkswagen is gonna do when it comes to the repair. Maybe buy them back, maybe not fix them if you don't want them fixed. I really don't know. Again, still on a wait and see protocol. Also, the 2-liter turbo and 1.8 turbo camshaft issues. We still don't have anything going on with that either. I've heard from Volkswagen people that it's definitely going to be camshafts. I've heard it's only going to be software. My guess is it would maybe be both. Understanding how they're going to really control the end of the camshaft braking with just software is probably at an engineering level that's quite a bit higher than my understanding. Sure, there's things we can do to prevent high RPM in cold temperatures, but I don't know that that's the exact reason for the failure anyway. I've talked about it before. What's happening is the lobe on the camshaft is breaking. This lobe drives the high pressure fuel pump as well as turns the vacuum pump for the brake boosters. Now, this results in no brake assist, so it's going to be an extremely hard pedal. The hydraulic portion of the brakes aren't really affected. It is the assist, but not having any brake assist can be a big deal. I've driven it with a couple customers that were concerned about their brakes. There was no problems. The only ones we've seen have been from rental car companies, so I don't think this is a huge, widespread issue, but we haven't heard anything as far as what the repair is going to be. Now, when it comes down to business, how things have been going in the shop, we've been really weird. We were crazy busy. Those TDI cards dropped, several weeks ago, and it was like everybody came in the minute they got that card. They wanted their $1,000. The great thing for us is people were buying tires, they were buying brake services, they were buying transmission and engine services. So it was really good for us. We were incredibly busy. And for the most part, when people were coming in to get these cards activated, they were awesome. Everybody's happy. Hey, I got a free $1,000. Now I can do this 80K in a DSG service, or I can do my timing belt, and that pays for almost all of it. I can get 4 new tires, and I'm cool there. We only had a couple of people that were just, I don't know what their problem was. I'm sure they were upset about other things in addition to the value of their car being reduced. They just weren't happy campers. Like, they were mad at us for this whole diesel thing, and we're like, we're just here to give you $1,000. Don't be mad at us. But that was a very, very small number. Most everyone was really, really cool about it. We did have a considerable slowdown actually last week due to that snowstorm on the East Coast. We got about 2 inches at most of snow at the dealership, but the problem in our area in the south is when it snows, a lot of times it's a lot more ice than it is snow. That's what we got at my house, a lot of ice and not really much snow. And they don't have the equipment to treat the roads. So, I grew up just outside of Chicago, and for me, a snow like this would be like, all right, no big deal. You leave 3 minutes earlier than you normally would, and you're good to go. Where here, they don't do any of that road treatment. So it is considerably different. A lot of times what will happen is the dealership will either close early or open late. Basically, we were closed one full day and had, on the Friday, we had one customer come in to get their car serviced. On the one side, it was good because we were able to catch up on some projects. On the other side, it was terrible because we had one customer. I don't know if you guys have seen that picture where there's a woman on her phone and like cars are on the side of the road on a snow-covered road, and one car's on fire, and people have photoshopped like the Marshmallow Man at the very back of it. That actually happened last year, about 15, maybe 10 miles from the dealership. So that's a local picture for me. It always cracks me up to see somebody on the other side of the country, posting it on Instagram or retweeting it or whatever. And that's very much what happens when it snows in the South. And that really sucks. I got probably my lowest paycheck that I've gotten in, 3 or 4 years because of that snowstorm. But, it's one of those things. It's part of the business. There's nothing we can do about it. We just got to rock and roll and keep on going. The good thing is that does give us some time to catch up on some bigger jobs. We actually got a lot of really big jobs in the shop right now. I think the other day I counted, we had 7 lifts tied down with cars. 2 Jetta Sport wagons with the transmissions out, 1 with a transmission failure, 1 with a clutch failure, or actually it was a release bearing failure. We had 3, that's right, 3 Routans with transmission problems. 1 had a flex plate cracked. 2 were internal transmission issues. They had issues with the holding clutches on, actually I think it was both 2-4 holding clutch. 1 got a junkyard transmission box because it was an extended warranty. The other one had some damage to the actual gear pieces, so we're gonna order a new transmission for that one. We also had a Routan with the cylinder head off, getting a cylinder head replacement due to misfire. So it's always interesting to see 4 or 5, because I think there was 5 at one point, Routans all in the shop, taking up basically a third of the shop when none of the parts on those cars are even Volkswagen parts. The other good thing about that is none of these cars are brand new. It's not like we're working on 2015s and 2016s and seeing these transmission or cylinder head problems. These are all several years older. As far as campaigns and updates and recalls, we haven't really had a lot going on in that department. There's a lot of little tiny updates and recalls. On the 2016 Passat, there was a body seam issue on the A-pillar. On some cars, the number was really low. It was like 700 cars. We had 3 of them on our lot, so I fixed those, and basically we're just reapplying some new sealant to fill that gap in the sealant of the body seam. And that's actually a really common thing when it comes to a new model release, to have a lot of these little quality checks or little tiny updates to a car when it's a new production vehicle. I know when the Passat first was built in America, we had like 6 of those little tiny checks, make sure this connector's in the right spot, make sure this is seated all the way, make sure this certain bolt has a cover over it. Not a terribly uncommon thing. It was actually good that there was really only 3 cars on the lot that I even had to worry about. Updates to MIB2, there is a software update for that. It fixes a bunch of little tiny knick-knacky things, probably fixes a bunch of other things that they don't even talk to us about. So we've been doing plenty of those. There's a lot of overlap between 1.8 turbos that need camshaft repair or whatever that turns out to be, diesels that need those repairs, and ones that have the MIB2. So it's an interesting combination of all 3 of those things. The clock spring recall is kind of in full go mode. It turns out that what they did was designed a small cover. It's a little black cover that clicks over the clock spring, so we actually don't have to really take any parts off the car other than the clamshell that surrounds the steering column trim, which is great that we're not disassembling the steering wheel and the airbag and everything like that. It's nice you just walking around and clip it in. Unless the airbag light is on, of course, then we're putting a clock spring in it, but that's case by case. Almost all of them that we've seen so far have just been that tiny plastic cover or a check, and if it's a newer style clock spring, some of those don't need the cover at all. And that cover's meant to keep dirt and debris out from inside the clock spring that can get in there and cause damage to the wiring. We've actually had a lot of 2-liter turbo TSI oil leaks lately, a lot of cam bridges leaking, a lot of upper timing covers leaking, vacuum pumps leaking, rear main seal, lower covers leaking. Actually, after I did that video about how to check the timing chain tensioner on a TSI, which I'll link it up for you guys, we had 3 timing chain tensioners jobs that we did in the shop that week. So it was great timing. I don't know what happens. Sometimes it's weird. I'll do a video and then I'll see this failure kind of pop up again. Maybe it's just because I'm paying a little bit closer attention to it, but I know we hadn't really been doing a lot of tensioners just as maintenance, so it was neat to see a few of these jobs rolling in after doing that video. I'm not saying they're related at all, but it was kind of cool to see those 2 things happen. I actually had a customer that had their rear main seal replaced, and I've worked on her car for years and years and years, and she was, you know, paying her bill, and she looks at me, she's like, did you do a video on rear main seal failure? And I was like, yeah, that was me. She's like, oh, I knew you from somewhere. So it was really weird to have a customer be like, hey, you're that guy from that thing. Awesome, thank you. You know, it was very cool, and I really do appreciate it, but it's just, it always catches me off guard. So it was really neat, though, that she had watched that video because she had, you know, we had told her she's got a rear main seal leaking. She did the research, she found the video I did about the rear main seal leaking, and then saw me and we talked about it. So that was super cool. But you know, it's been kind of a weird couple months, like month and a half or so. The TDI thing is awesome. I love that some of this money is getting spent in the dealership. A lot of people are spending all $1,000 at the dealership. You know, think about what you want about what Volkswagen did and how they lied. You know, I'm past it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want to look at what's going forward with it now. And it's great to see this money coming into the dealership because let's face it, that whole ordeal did hurt our business, both in parts, service, and in sales. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. If you have any questions or comments, post it in the comments section below. Hey, if you like the video, throw it a thumbs up on YouTube. I always appreciate that. You can also subscribe on YouTube or on the blog at humblemechanic.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the blog, and obviously right here on YouTube. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Oh, I've just been playing with this bent valve from like another video that I did. It was sitting here on the bench, so I've just been fidgeting with it. Also, drink of the day is a cranberry gin and tonic. I don't know if you guys can tell, but like my throat super hurts. So I was hoping maybe a gin and tonic would make that feel better. I don't know, I'm only that far into it, so we'll see what it feels like in about an hour.